N8n is quickly becoming one of the most popular automation platforms for home labbers and businesses alike. I have spun up a local instance here and I've been kind of testing it out, playing around with it, and it's awesome. I haven't gotten too deep in everything that it can do, but the potential and kind of the ideas that I have to actually utilize it and make my life easier are, well, a lot. There's a lot. I mean, right now I have some pretty basic use cases here, checking domains, running Ubuntu updates, but eventually I plan on creating like self-hosted AI assistants to do all kinds of fun things. And even in this video, we're going to check out some automations. We're going to build some stuff together. For example, here in my Ubuntu VM update, this one's not perfect, has a couple little errors that I'm working on, but you can see it looks complex, but this is a pretty simple automation in which, if I zoom in here, it has a schedule trigger, so it will run the update command. It will pull a list of updates. If there are updates, it will run an upgrade. If not, it will do nothing. If it does run an upgrade, it will view the output. If the upgrade is a success, it will let me know if that success is a failure via a Telegram message. Pretty cool, simple automation, and this is a great like foundation for building more on top of it, because with like the Telegram nodes, for example, you can make it so I can reply to it, say, hey, don't update. If there's an error, I'll get notified of it right away, and this alone takes away a lot of manual work in which I have to log into various LXC containers, bare metal machines, etc. to actually run these. I realize that this is something I'm probably going to want to host on a cloud platform like a VPS, because I have Xfinity and it is kind of the old school coax internet, and unfortunately my internet uptime is not that of something like a VPS. I want my automations to run all the time, especially some of the things that aren't going to necessarily depend on my home lab. So in this video, what we're going to be doing is checking out Hostinger, the sponsor of today's video, installing n8n, setting everything up, accessing it. Of course, like always, there are timestamps down below in chapters, so you could kind of go to whatever section is most valuable to you. We are going to be setting this up in Docker, and because it's going to be on Hostinger, I want to securely link it to my home lab. So to accomplish that, we are going to be using NetBIrd, a fantastic remote connection platform, and disclaimer, my employer. If you're somebody who uses like Tailscale, TwinGate, something like that in your home lab environment, NetBIrd is definitely something worth checking out. So first, the platform and today's sponsor, Hostinger. They're having a Black Friday sale in which it is incredibly affordable to spin up something. I have a KVM2 right here with two vCPU cores, 8 gigs RAM, 100 gigs of SSD space, and 8 terabytes of bandwidth. You can see some of the other plans here, and the pricing is rather affordable even if you look at the full pricing right here. And actually, last time Hostinger reached out and sponsored a video, I did a whole thing where I kind of did benchmarking and price analysis comparison against a variety of different providers, and Hostinger was on top for the most part when it comes to what you get, how it performs, and the price that you're going to end up paying. I'll link to that video down below so you can see the full charts, my analysis on that. Overall, it's a great platform, especially if it's something that you're going to be using for an extended period of time, as a lot of the value in Hostinger comes if you go with a long-term plan versus a bunch of the other providers that give you kind of the hourly rates. Right now, you can get 64% off of 2-year plans, and if you go and wait for Black Friday, it's a little bit cheaper, with a 67% discount on those 2-year plans. It is high performance as they use AMD EPYC processors, NVMe SSD storage, and if you do go with the lighter like KVM1 plan, it is scalable, so it's really easy to go ahead and upgrade. And there's a wide range of operating system choices. I'll go ahead and log in real quick so you can see the one I'm actively running right there. I've already set it up, but actually getting this going is pretty easy. If I head over here to VPS, I create a new VPS plan. You go with a standard KVM VPS, pick your data center of preference, and here you can see a wide variety of options when it comes to the plain operating systems that you could go ahead and pick. I generally am a fan of Ubuntu, so that's something I would select, but you can add an OS with a panel to make life a little bit easier if that's something you want to do, or use one of their one-click installers to spin up a variety of services, including n8n. If you just are going to do that anyways, you might as well spin it up with n8n pre-installed. And that's one of the dev tools. You can see there's really a lot of options here. So for me, I'd go plain OS, pick Ubuntu, you pick the version of the operating system that you want. Of course, you have full root access, so you can set up a root password or use an SSH key if you already have one of those. So you pick a strong password, go next. You have the option for daily auto backups as well as a malware scanner, so we could go next. You pick your plan, go select. Here's some transparent pricing with and without discounts if you want to go 1 month versus 24 months. And then from there, you choose your payment method. And then once you put that payment method in, on the next screen, you can put in a discount code in which you can see on screen now, and it will be down below. So use the link to get this limited time deal and an additional discount on all yearly plans using my link or code. And then when everything's up and running, you could go ahead and click on manage. This is our dashboard for everything we got going on here. They have a little AI agent, which is kind of cool. You can use it to check your health, check your connectivity, and a few other things. And like if I use it to check connectivity real quick, it will automatically put in a prompt for you, checking open ports, firewall, DNS records, all automatically for you, which you can see here. Now with that, we're going to go ahead and log into this VPS and get everything set up. So opening up a terminal. So we're going to SSH into the root, see if I remember what I changed my password to, which apparently I don't, so I can easily just change that root password right here on the dashboard. There we go, confirm that. And then I'll just give this a sec to let it do that. All right, let's see if it works. Hey, will you look at that? I am in, and I never set up the user. So the first thing that we're gonna do, we're not gonna want to install or do a lot of this stuff via the root user. So to add a personal user, you just do add user. I'm gonna type in a username, give myself a fairly decent password. Eventually I'll switch this over to an SSH key, so don't waste your time trying. Skip all this stuff, it's only me in there, so it's irrelevant. And then add the user Brandon to the sudo group. And now I could just switch user, but to test it out, let's exit on out of here and then SSH in as that new user. And okay, there we go, we're in, sweet. And of course, the first thing that we always do when we log into a new Linux instance is do a sudo apt update as well as a sudo apt upgrade. And yes, no matter what it says, I'm gonna say yes anyways. That run, there shouldn't be too much. Oh, I think I'm trying to type too fast. And now, like I said, we are gonna be doing this with Docker. So let's see if we have Docker installed, which we do not. You can install it using one of these commands here, but I find that the best way to do this is with their simple setup script. So what we'll do is we will grab this curl command to get Docker, drop it on in, and then I might as well just run this sudo command at the same time to actually run that script that it's about to download. And there it goes. It's going to install Docker itself, any dependencies, and it's going to make that Docker group for us. And just like that, it's done. The last kind of main step that we're going to want to do is add our user to that Docker group. So it's just a sudo user mod command. So we just drop that in, and then we have a new grp Docker to kind of reload that group. There we go. So now I can run Docker commands without having to use sudo, which is awesome. So from there, we're going to go over to the n8n documentation. There are some options to actually getting this going if you don't want to use Docker. For example, if I head on over to hosting n8n, you could see all the options here. So we have the Docker installation guide, various environmental variables. You can install it with n8n or npm, sorry, if you'd like to. And they have some starter kits, which are kind of cool, worth checking out. If you're doing this on a machine that has like a GPU, you can use their AI starter kit, which includes some additional tools out of the gate to save you some installation troubles and steps. But what I'm going to do is just go to the Docker installation guide. Here we have some videos and stuff, but you're watching this video, so you're going to be good to go. You can see it's a simple Docker run command here. It's going to be placed in a n8n data, Docker volume. We have a couple environmental variables, but really not too much going on here. You do have additional options if you have a different environment or a different database you want to use. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this and run it as a compose. There's a wonderful website you could use. I think it's Composerize. There it is. So we just drop in our Docker run command, and then it will go ahead and automatically convert that into a Docker compose for you. So now we could get rid of some of these and go over here. Right now we are in my current home directory, which is where I'm just going to store everything. So I could actually make a directory and call this n8n. This is where my Docker and configuration stuff is going to be stored. So now if I cd into that directory I just created, we're going to use Nano, which is my favorite text editor, to create a new compose YAML file like that. Hit enter, and then drop in the compose. So here you can see we have all the environmental variables. We are going to want to change some of these, which I'll do real quick. America. So let's go Control O to output that, Control X. And now what we could do is a Docker compose up. We're not going to do -d because I just want to make sure I want to see the logs right away. make sure there's no substantial issues. So it's going to download, pull all those images. Composerize has failed us. So we're going to nano compose, and I'm just going to get rid of that line right there. No time at all. Hold on. Whoopsie daisies. And there we go. And just like that, it is spinning up. We can see, at least at the moment, there are no substantial issues. This is the port 567. So I'm going to do Control C to get rid of this or to cancel it out. And we're going to rerun this in the background with detached or -D. Hit enter, and there we go. So now I should be able to just access this in the browser now, which we will eventually change. So if I get the IP address here, drop that on in and go to 5678. Who do we appreciate? There we go. We need a little environmental variable. It's not recommended to do, but again, I am going to not be accessing it through this domain. So that's probably going to be okay, but just to make sure there's no, yep. So let's go back. Secure cookie, Docker compose down, edit the YAML, and then under environmental variable, we are simply going to add a new one right in here and set this to false. So output that, boom, get out of there. And again, we will spin her up. So now if I refresh this, well, yeah, look at that. We're now in. Now, one thing, since we did disable SSH, you can see right here, the connection is not secure. So it's not really the best idea to go ahead and input sensitive information into forms like this. So what I'm going to do is get NetBIrd spun up so I can connect to it with WireGuard, or with WireGuard on the backing end. So if I head over to NetBIrd, let's go ahead and log in with our key, and there we go. So all we need to do is generate a quick setup key. So let's go to setup keys, go to create. This is Hostinger, and I'm going to keep everything as is, but I will auto assign it to a group. This one is going to be placed into my offsite group, as well as a custom group that I'm going to create called n8n. So we'll go ahead and add that, create our setup key. So now when we use this setup key in this Hostinger VPS, it'll automatically get added to those groups. So we're going to install NetBIrd with this one line command right here. Give it just a bit. Shouldn't take too much time at all. While it does that, let's go ahead and grab this run NetBIrd command with our setup key already in there. Wait for this to finish up. Once we get it to say NetBIrd up, we can run this connect command. So let's paste that on in there, hit enter, and boom, just like that, we can see that we're connected. If I close this out here, go to our peers, we should see the host name right there. So I'm going to quickly give this an edit. This is Hostinger. There we go, save that. And now let's make sure I'm connected. So let's connect to NetBIrd on this machine. There we go, we're connected. So now if I open up a local shell, new tab, so then in a sec we could test it after we create a quick access control policy. Now I'll make this policy a little bit more secure a little bit later, but for now I'm just gonna give my admin user, which is me, full access to the machine that is in the n8n group. So we will continue. This is n8n remote access, and add that policy there, which we can see right here, n8n remote access. So now if we grab that DNS name for the machine we just spun up, let's give this a copy. We should be able to ping it just like that. Booyah. And now just to kind of demo that the policy is working, if I go to n8n remote access here, disable the policy, you can see we have a request timeout. Let's re-enable the policy. It might take it a sec. Oh, didn't. There it is. Some nice full remote access. And also in the browser, if I use that host name like so to connect to 5678, you can see we're connected to n8n just like this. Now, one thing I want to do is make it so this public IP doesn't work. Now, if I go over here to manage, and let's go to firewall rules, add a firewall blocker. Great. Edit. Looks like any is the default. So let's enable the blocker. Activate. There we go. And by default, it should be deny all off. Synchronize. Oh, there we go. So now, if I head over here, this should not work. As you can see there, it's stalling. Do it in a new tab to hurry this process along. You can see that it is now not working, but in here, since I'm directly connected, give this a refresh, we're working. So now it is actually secure despite this warning here. So let's create our account. This is probably my favorite way to set up remote things now. Just block everything, connect directly to it with WireGuard. You're good to go. Ooh, receive a free activation key for advanced features. History, debugging. Sure. I mean, mine as well. I'd go ahead and enter that right there. I'm going to do that a little bit later. And theoretically, I mean, this SSH connection should have stalled out as well. Oh, yeah, it's stalled. So, yeah, that is incredibly secure now. Beautiful. And yeah, basically, here we are. We can now start creating workflows, do some fun things, make some automations. We are ready to go. And creating a workflow is pretty easy. We just go create workflow. Let's create something super simple, such as one checking to see if there has been like a disconnection to my actual home lab, for example, or a specific machine in my home lab. So what I'm going to do is first I'm going to trigger this on a schedule. So let's say every 5 minutes, I just want to run something like a simple ping. So just like that, we have some settings too if you would like, but we should be able to just go back to canvas. We now have that trigger right there. So now for the trigger, let's go ahead and add a command. Let's execute a command. So we have this one right here. Now for this command, we are simply just going to want to ping. Let's add some flags here. So we'll only have it try to ping one time and we'll wait for 3 seconds. And it's going to need to actually be able to ping this, so that's something we're going to have to check in access control policies. Let's first pick a machine to actually ping. So let's find something in my home lab here. So if I go over here to peers and then get rid of this search, we have our unraid machine here. And right now this is probably the most important machine in my home lab. So if I grab this unraid command right here, or this unraid DNS name, we could ping that directly, and let's make sure it's allowed to do that. So this is in my home lab group. So what I'm actually going to do is go into policies here, and I'm going to edit a policy that I already created. So n8n offsite automations. I changed this up so n8n isn't running locally anymore. So what I'll do is I'll have n8n be the source, and then I'm going to have my home lab be the destination group, just like that. It's only me on here. I'm not going to make this too secure. I could really specify the specific ports and all that. But for now, let's save those changes. And now if we go over here, we should be able to execute this step, and we can see that we actually have a successful ping there. Now, just to kind of show you this in action, just like last time, if I disable this offsite automation and then go back over here, execute this step again, you could say that it failed because there's no permission there to actually access this properly. So if I re-enable that policy by just like that, execute this step again, you can see it's a success. So now what we could do is go over to settings here, and on error, we're going to want to continue using error output, because in the next step, we're going to do a little if-else statement. So you can see if something's a success, something will happen. If something's an error, something will happen. And honestly, if it's a success, I don't really need it to do anything. Everything's operational. Life is good. So under success, do nothing. For an error, I would love to be notified. And Telegram honestly seems to me to be kind of the easiest way to do this. They have integrations with a lot of different messaging clients. So it's whatever you use. So I am going to go over here to Telegram. Let's click on that. I am going to do the send, or not send, let's send, oh, send something, send a text message, and we have some credentials there. We're going to want to create a new credential for Telegram. Now, doing this is pretty easy. Essentially, what you're going to want to do is contact the bot father. When contacting the bot father, you're going to want to do /start, and then it's going to give you all the different commands. From there, you do /new bot. It's going to ask you to give your bot a name and then a username. Go ahead and do so. And then after, as a username, it's going to give you your API key, and that is what you're going to want to insert right there. So I'm going to drop mine in right there. Again, if you're doing this just with HTTP, probably not the most secure thing to do. Again, I'm connected directly to this with NetBIrd. So from there, we could click on save. It's going to test that connection. You could see it was successful, so we could go ahead and close this out. Here, you're going to want to input an actual chat ID. And to do that, first, you're going to want to send your bot a message and then go to this URL, pasting in your API key. Within that, within the JSON, you'll be able to actually find your chat ID. And for specific steps and all that, check out the link down below, or just the instructions that I put in the description. This right here is going to be my chat ID. And then we can add a text. So something like this: warning, VPS offline. This actually isn't the VPS again. I did a little switcheroosies here. So I do something like NetBIrd network disconnected from Unraid. Oh no. So with all that, we should be good to go. If I go back to the canvas, execute the entire workflow, boom, do nothing. But again, if I go ahead and disable the offsite automations here, whoops, actually that works, save, and then execute that workflow, we have an error. I should get a message, there it is, in which you can see that error message that we just put in. So that is an example of a pretty simple automation, just monitoring a connection every 5 minutes, letting us know via an actual notification on our phone if there is some kind of issue. Really simple automation, but incredibly helpful. I can call this something like NetBIrd checker, something like that. So now we have the NetBIrd checker automation. Let's make that active, and got it, we're good to go. So now every 5 minutes that ping command will execute and let me know if there is a failure. And then of course using like NetBIrd IP addresses or DNS names, or even setting up an actual routing peer so you can access local IP addresses from this VPS. You could set up a whole bunch of different automations and use cases that way. And if you do want to learn more about NetBIrd, how it works, do check out my video in which I go over just about everything. And I mean, it could get to the point where you could switch this out to check like a different machine and then customize the message, whether or not if it's like your entire NetBIrd network or if there's a specific machine down, so you get real good details on exactly what is wrong. And even in the future, enable AI agents, which you can see right here. They have a whole bunch of different things, including Olama, which we're going to set up in a future video. Once I complete the daunting task of finding a 3090 that's moderately affordable. But again, we're going to get into a real nice automated agent like that in the future. Oh, I just got another notification. Don't want to forget to re-enable that there. See, that's nice. I would have forgotten. It would have been a while before I noticed that, and it just let me know right away. Sweet deal. And then we're going to be creating just a simple automation to go ahead and check to see if our Homelab is alive after completely securing and locking down the remote VPS with Firewall and NetBIrd. So that about concludes this video. We have everything set up. We have a great foundation to work off of in the future. Do subscribe so you don't miss us diving deeper into more automations, integrations with things like Unraid itself, Proxmox, creating some good old like overseer automations, which is going to be nice so I get notified without having to use like their internal systems. It's going to be fun. Subscribe to that channel, ring the bell so you don't miss that. With all that, I do hope you have an absolutely beautiful day, and goodbye.